Hi there, I'm your emotionally distraught host, and today we are talking about dogs. One dog, in particular, my dog. Since the speed paint has her and her brother in it, I figured why not tell the story of how I got her. My chunketh punketh, the chubby little baby that stole my heart. For her story, you need some context. When I was pretty young, I got the tip of my pinky cut off. The place I was at fault, so we sued them. My mom made me a promise that when the lawsuit was said and over with, I could get a dog. That was all my own. So, now with that context, let's jump in. Shortly after my lawsuit was said and over with, my dad dragged me and my two sisters to Kansas to see his current girlfriend's family. Now, my dad is a man who is most comfortable behind the wheel. So, instead of going through the pain of airport security, he decided, let's drive the 8 to 10 hours that it'll take to get to the middle of nowhere, Kansas. So, into his big red pickup, he loaded two cranky preteens, an absolutely emotionally pissed teenager, and two adults, plus all of their luggage. My sisters were so not wanting to go, but me, I didn't mind. What I did mind was the fact I would be stuck in the small cramped cabin of the truck with so many people. I have never liked being in close contact with people because I hate being touched. So, I pulled my headphones on and tried to forget that I was in such close contact with the awful, sticky things that were my sisters. After 10 hours in the car, we finally got to my dad's girlfriend's brother's house. Sorry, I just have to say it that way because it's such a diggity dang mouthful. Now, this man was a dog breeder, and he had a nice yard and setup for the dogs. Before you get ahead of yourselves, no, I did not fall in love with one of the puppies that he had bred. They were very cute, little white fluff balls, but I certainly did not have the money for them. As we get out of the truck, I took the time to look around the yard. It was a beautiful property, but one thing was out of place. A hobbled together cage near what I was pretty sure was the dog kennels. Now, I don't know what you're picturing, but it sure wasn't what I saw. What I could only guess was a dog cage was this 10 by 10 area that had been fenced in with your usual chain link fence. The cage's fence was at least 6 feet tall. It had pieces of what I can best describe as metal roofing haphazardly strapped to the corners of it. Inside this intimidating dog cage was this little dog who couldn't be more than a foot and a half tall at her head. It looked like a sweet little dog. Very smiley, tail wagging. But the fact that it was in the big, intimidating cage made me weary. As soon as we were all out of the truck, the little black dog tilted its head, then climbed the 6-foot fence with no hesitation. The little thing climbed the chain link fence like it was a ladder, and once she hit the top, she simply leaped down to come greet us. For the next 2 hours, I played with the dog, and over those 2 hours, I decided that she was the dog I wanted. I wanted her, and I was gonna hold my mom to the promise she made me. I ran inside and asked my dad's girlfriend's brother about the dog. He said that the little escape artist had been dropped off on his land, and he was looking for a home for her. He also mentioned that he wasn't gonna charge anything for her. He'd also send her home with some food and her shots. Knowing this, I stole my dad's phone from him and called my mom. Now, what do you think my little dumb brain told her as soon as she picked up? Maybe, "Mom, I found a dog," or, "Hey Mom, remember that promise you made me?" No. I said, "Mom, I think I found my soulmate." Now let's take a moment to be in my dear sweet mother's shoes. Your 12-year-old daughter is calling you from a state away and just told you she found her soulmate. Yeah, I gave my poor mom a heart attack. After hours of begging, my mom finally agreed. She let me get the wild dog from the yeehaw state of Kansas. And my dad agreed to let the dog ride in the truck for the long, long drive back home. My mom says to this day that she would have gotten me any kind of dog I wanted. And she really does mean any. But if I'm being honest, I have no regrets on picking my obnoxious little lab healer mix. Now, you would think that's where the story ends, but not quite, dear listener. We haven't talked about how I picked her name. My little 12-year-old heart was set on naming this adorable little black lab puppy mix Stray. My sisters were not having it. I thought it was the funniest thing to name this stray dog Stray. I had just read a book where the main character had named their dog Dog, and thought literal names were the peak of comedy. My older sister wanted me to name her Sunny, but I didn't like the name. I was not the one who came up with it. My little sister, who just likes picking fights, didn't have another name she was just sure she didn't like the name I came up with. So, after days of them picking a fight with me, I let the name Stray go. I still think Stray would have been a cute name for her. But to hell if I was gonna let them name my dog. No. So, I picked the name Love and told them they could go shove it. I forgot to record an end card, so if you hear any background noise, that's because I'm back in my room. Anyways, quick note, all of the music I used in my description, and enjoy some pictures of my dog.